Good morning. Today we are going to discuss Module 1, A Christmas Day in the Morning. We are going to study a short story called A Christmas Day in the Morning. Before discussing the story, we are going to read a poem called Real Love by Joy Allison. It's a very short and simple poem. It is about a mother and 3 children. ഒരു അമ്മയും 3 കുട്ടികളും. I love you, mother, said little John. That is the first child, little John. Then, forgetting his work, his cap went on, and he was off to the garden swing, and left her the water and wood to bring. So, ഒന്നാമത്തെ കുട്ടി little John ആണ്. The first child is little John. And what did little John do? Little John says he loves his mother. അമ്മയോട് പറയുന്നു അമ്മയെ ഇഷ്ടമാണെന്ന്. പക്ഷേ he doesn't do any work. He forgets his work. He goes off to the garden swing and plays. യാതൊരു ജോലിയും ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല, പോയി ഊഞ്ഞാലിൽ കളിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നു. And left his mother the water and wood to bring. വെള്ളവും വിറകും ഒക്കെ കൊണ്ടുവരുന്ന ആരാണ്? അമ്മയാണ്. This boy doesn't do any work. All the household work is done by his mother. അമ്മയെ ഇഷ്ടമാണെന്ന് പറയുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിലും ലിറ്റിൽ ജോൺ യാതൊരു ജോലിയും ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. Next, I love you, mother, said little Nell. I love you better than tongue can tell. Then she teased and pouted full half the day, till her mother rejoiced when she went to play. The second child is little Nell, and little Nell also says, I love you, mother. I love you better than tongue can tell. That means, I love you better than words can express. വാക്കുകളിലൂടെ പറയാവുന്നതിലും അപ്പുറം ഇഷ്ടമാണ്. പക്ഷേ ലിറ്റിൽ നെൽ ഓൾസോ ഡസൻറ്റ് ഡു എനി വർക്ക്. യാതൊരു ജോലിയും ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. She teased and pouted. To pout is to push the lower lip forward to show that you are annoyed. പിണക്കം കാണിക്കുക. So she teased and pouted full half the day, and then she went to play. She also plays all day and doesn't do any work. So the two kids, little John and little Nell, do not do any work. They just play all day. Next, I love you, mother, says little Fan. So what is the name of the third kid? Little Fan. I love you, mother, said little Fan. Today I'll help you all I can. How glad I am school doesn't keep. So she rocked the baby till it fell asleep. So the third child, little Fan, is willing to help her mother. ഈ ഒരു കുട്ടി മാത്രമാണ് അമ്മയെ ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. I love you, mother എന്ന് പറയുക മാത്രമല്ല, she also helps her mother. What does she do? She says she rocks the baby to sleep. കുട്ടിയെ ഉറക്കുന്നു. And she is glad that she doesn't have to go to school that day. Then, stepping softly, she took the broom and swept the floor and tidied the room. Then she sweeps the room with a broom. Busy and happy all day was she, helpful and happy as child should be. So, she helps her mother all day. She is busy and happy all day helping her mother. I love you, mother, again they said. So all the children say, I love you, mother. I love you, mother. But only one child is actually willing to help the mother. I love you, mother, again they said. Three little children going to bed. How do you think that mother guessed which of them really loved her best? So which of these kids loved the mother best? It's obviously little Fan. All the kids tell the mother that they love her. എല്ലാവരും പറയുന്നുണ്ട് that they love her. But you must remember that actions speak louder than words. And who is the only one who acts? Little Fan is the only one who acts. Little Fan മാത്രമാണ് അമ്മയെ help ചെയ്യുന്നത്. That means Little Fan loves the mother best. Little Fan is the only one willing to help her mother in her chores. Her compassion and willingness to help are the true marks of love. So that is what the poem is about. The poem just tells you that love is not just about words, it is about your actions. It is about your compassion, it is about your willingness to help that particular person. Next, we are going to study a short story called A Christmas Day in the Morning. The short story written by Paul F. Buck. And this short story also has the same message as the poem we just read. നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ വായിച്ച പോയത്തിൻ്റെ സെയിം മെസ്സേജ് ആണ് ഈ സ്റ്റോറിക്ക് ഉള്ളത്. So this is the story of a 15-year-old boy who helped his father in a special way. Just like the child helped her mother do the chores, this little boy also helps his father in a very special way. That is what the story is about. The author of the story is a lady named Pearl S. Buck. She was an American writer and novelist, and she was also a Nobel Prize laureate. She was the first American woman to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. Her most famous novel is The Good Earth. It won the Pulitzer Prize in 1932. And The Good Earth describes the life of peasants in China. ചൈനയിലെ ഫാമേഴ്സിൻ്റെ ലൈഫിനെ പറ്റിയാണ് ഗുഡ് എർത്ത് പറയുന്നത്. And she has also written a lot of biographical works. So she was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1938. The story begins thus. He woke suddenly and completely. It was 4 o'clock, the hour at which his father had always called him to get up and help with the milking. Strange how the habits of his youth clung to him still. 50 years ago, and his father had been dead for 30 years, and yet he waked at 4 o'clock in the morning. He had trained himself to turn over and go to sleep, but this morning it was Christmas. He did not try to sleep. So that this particular person wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning. എന്നും 4 മണിക്കാണ് എണീക്കുന്നത്. And he says it has been a lifelong habit. His father used to wake him up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So even after the death of his father, even 30 years after the death of his father, he still wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Usually he tries to go back to sleep, but today it was Christmas morning that day, so he doesn't want to go back to sleep. So he usually wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but today he doesn't want to go back to sleep because it is Christmas. Christmas ആയതുകൊണ്ട് വീണ്ടും ഉറങ്ങാനായിട്ട് തോന്നുന്നില്ല. He gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So here's a question. Which habit of his youth still clings to the speaker? Do the habits of your youth still cling to you? Why? So the habits you develop in your youth always stay with you. സ്പീക്കറിൻ്റെ ഹാബിറ്റ് എന്താണ്? ദിവസവും 4 മണിക്ക് എണീക്കുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് സ്പീക്കറിൻ്റെ ഹാബിറ്റ്. ഈ ഹാബിറ്റ് സ്പീക്കർ എങ്ങനെയാണ് പഠിച്ചത്? പുള്ളിക്കാരൻ്റെ അച്ഛനിൽ നിന്നാണ് പഠിച്ചത്. So the speaker still wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning as he used to do when he was young. That is his habit. The speaker and his family used to live in a barn. ഒരു farmland, ഒരു barnലാണ് ജീവിച്ചിരുന്നത്. Why did he feel so awake tonight? He slipped back in time as he did so easily nowadays. So he is feeling particularly awake that night. ഉറക്കം വരുന്നില്ല. He feels awake that night. And he begins to think about his past. He slips back in time. Slipped back in time. To slip back in time is to think about your past. To think about your past memories. To go back into past memories. പഴയ കാലത്തെപ്പറ്റി ചിന്തിക്കുക. He was 15 years old and still on his father's farm. He loved his father. He had not known it until one day, a few days before Christmas, when he had overheard what his father was saying to his mother. So he had always loved his father, but he didn't know that until one Christmas day he overheard a conversation between his father and mother. Why didn't the speaker try to turn over and sleep that particular morning? എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് പുള്ളി ഉറങ്ങാൻ ശ്രമിക്കാത്തത്? Because it was Christmas Day. Because it was Christmas Day. Next is a conversation between Rob's father and mother. റോബിന്റെ അച്ഛനും അമ്മയും തമ്മിൽ പണ്ട് നടന്ന ഒരു conversation ആണിത്. Mary, I hate to call Rob in the mornings. He is growing up so fast and he needs his sleep. If you could see how he sleeps when I go in to wake him up, I wish I could manage alone. So the father says, I do not want to wake up Rob so early in the morning because he is a growing child and he needs his sleep. എനിക്ക് റോബിനെ രാവിലെ എണീപ്പിക്കാൻ താല്പര്യമില്ല because he is a very small child and he needs to sleep. So what does the mother say? Well, you can't, Adam. His mother's voice was brisk. Brisk means sharp, fast, etc. Marked by speed, fast. Besides, he isn't a child anymore. It's time he took his turn. So his mother says, you have to wake him up. He's not a child anymore. He's 15 now. He's not a child anymore. You have to wake him up in the morning. At 4 o'clock in the morning. Yes, his father said slowly. But I sure do hate to wake him. The father doesn't want to wake him up. ഇത്രയും നേരത്തെ വിളിച്ചുണർത്താൻ അച്ഛന് താല്പര്യമില്ല. But അമ്മ എന്താ പറയുന്നത്? He's not a small boy now. You have to wake him up. Now let's see the questions. Who said to whom? But I sure do hate to wake him. That is what his father says to his mother. അച്ഛൻ അമ്മയോടാണ് പറയുന്നത്. His father says that to his mother. Well, you can't, Adam. Besides, he isn't a child. Who says that? His mother says that to his father. Rob's mother says that to his father. അമ്മ അച്ഛനോടാണ് പറയുന്നത്. Next question. Why did his father wish he could manage alone? He felt that his son was growing fast and needed his sleep. He didn't want to wake up his son so early in the morning. He loved his son and hated to disturb his sleep. Main reason is that he loved his son. He didn't want to interrupt his sleep. Next question, what did Rob overhear one day? What impact did it make? എന്താണ് റോബ് കേട്ടത്? Rob overheard the conversation between his mother and his father. He overheard his father telling his mother that he hated to call Rob in the morning. He hated to wake Rob up in the morning. He did that only because he had no other choice. Rob understood that his father loved him deeply, and this awakened a renewed love and respect for his father in his mind. ഈ കോൺവെർസേഷൻ കേട്ടതുകൊണ്ട് അച്ഛനോടുള്ള ലവും റെസ്പെക്റ്റും കൂടി. This awakened a renewed love and respect for his father in his mind. When he heard these words, something in him spoke. His father loved him. He had never thought of that before, taking for granted the tie of their blood. Neither his father nor his mother talked about loving their children. They had no time for such things. There was always so much to do in the farm. So when he heard these words, he realized that his father loved him. And he had never thought of that before. We always take our parents' love for granted. Take for granted എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ്? Assume that something is true without questioning it. To take something for granted is to assume that something is true without questioning it. അതിനെ question ചെയ്യാതെ തന്നെ അത് ശരിയാണെന്ന് നമ്മൾ വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. For example, the gifts of nature are often taken for granted. The gifts of nature are often taken for granted. So his parents never talked about their love for him. അതിനെപ്പറ്റി എന്തുകൊണ്ട് അവർ സംസാരിക്കുന്നില്ല? Because they are always busy. There was always so much to do in the farm. They are farmers. അവർക്ക് ഇതിനെപ്പറ്റി ഒന്നും സംസാരിക്കാൻ സമയമില്ല. So they never talked about their love for him. They always had so much work to do in the farm. Now that he knew his father loved him, there would be no loitering in the mornings and having to be called again. He decided never to loiter. Loiter means wander. He decided not to loiter in the mornings. He decided he wouldn't loiter. ഇനി തൊട്ട് കറങ്ങി നടക്കില്ല എന്ന് തീരുമാനിച്ചു. To loiter is to wander. To wander aimlessly. Don't loiter on the way home. വെറുതെ കറങ്ങി നടക്കരുത്. He got up after that, stumbling blindly in his sleep, and pulled on his clothes, his eyes shut, but he got up. Then he stumbled blindly in his sleep. To stumble is to walk unsteadily. For example, I stumbled on the uneven pavement. Unsteady ആയിട്ട് നടക്കുക. And then on the night before Christmas, that year when he was 15, he lay for a few minutes thinking about the next day. They were poor and most of the excitement was in the turkey and they had raised themselves and mince pies his mother made. So this was a poor family. How did they celebrate Christmas? They did not exchange expensive gifts. They made a turkey for dinner and some mince pies. That was how they celebrated Christmas. Turkey, as you know, is a bird. Turkey, bird, chicken bola, it is eaten for Christmas. Mince pies. Mince pie is a baked dish with pastry dough as the covering and a mixture of sweet fruits and minced meat as filling. It is a baked dish. അതിനകത്തുള്ള filling എന്താണ്? Fruits, meat, etc. is the filling. And it is usually made during Christmas. You can see the picture of a minced pie in the slide. His sister sewed presents and his mother and his father always bought him something he needed. Not only a warm jacket, maybe, but something more, such as a book. So they gave each other useful gifts. His sister sewed some presents. His mother and father bought him something useful, like a jacket or a book. And he saved and bought them each something too. He also bought them some gifts. എല്ലാവരും പരസ്പരം ഗിഫ്റ്റ്സ് കൊടുക്കാറുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ അവരുടേത് ഒരു പുവർ ഫാമിലിയാണ്, അതുകൊണ്ട് അവർക്ക് എക്സ്പെൻസീവ് ഗിഫ്റ്റ്സ് ഒന്നും കൊടുക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് വാട്ട് ദിസ് പാരഗ്രാഫ് സേസ്. What were the presents exchanged between the family members? What is the answer to that question? Turkey means spice his mother made. Presents his sister sewed. Sewed means taikiga. A warm jacket or a book that his parents gifted him. And a tie that he brought for his father. He always bought a tie for his father. He wished that Christmas when he was 15, he had a better present for his father. So Rob wants to give his father a better present. As usual, he had gone to the 10-cent store and bought a tie. It had seemed nice enough until he lay thinking the night before Christmas. Usually, he used to give his father a tie. 10 സെന്റിന്റെ ഒരു ടൈ ആണ് സ്ഥിരമായിട്ട് റോബ് ഫാദറിന് കൊടുക്കുന്നത്. പക്ഷേ this time he wants to give him something better. He looked out of his attic window. The stars were bright. ATTIC, attic എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മച്ചിൻപുറമാണ്. It is the room right below the roof of a building. He looked out of his attic window. The stars were bright. Dad, he had once asked when he was a little boy, what is a stable? So what does he ask his father? What is a stable? Stable endana? A stable is a building in which horses are kept. Stable is basically തൊഴുത്ത്. പക്ഷേ കുതിരയെ കെട്ടുന്ന തൊഴുത്ത്. For example, at age 11, he began riding horses and worked as a stable boy. You can see the example written in the slide. At age 11, he began riding horses and worked as a stable boy. That means he worked in a stable. So he asked his father, what is a stable? It's just a barn, his father had replied. It's just a barn, like ours. Then Jesus had been born in a barn, and to a barn the shepherds had come. So he thinks that Jesus had been born in a barn. What is a barn? A barn is a building in farms for the storage of crops. Crops store in the സ്ഥലമാണ് barn. So what is the usual gift he gets for his father? It is a tie from a 10-cent store. He gets a father a tie every year. Why did he wish that he had a better present for his father that Christmas? Because he overheard the conversation between his father and mother and realized how deeply his father loved him. This kindled renewed love for his father in his mind, and so he wanted to give a special gift to his father that particular Christmas. He understood that, he realized that his father loved him, so he wanted to give his father a special gift. The thought struck him like a silver dagger. A dagger is a katti. Why should he not give his father a special gift too, out there in the barn? He could get up early, earlier than 4 o'clock, and he could creep into the barn and get all the milking done. So that is the gift, the real gift he is going to give his father. He is going to do all the work in the barn that day. He is going to get up earlier than 4 o'clock. He is going to do all his work. He could creep into the barn and get all the milking done. Milking, pashuvine karakka. He'd do it alone, milk and clean up, and then when his father went in to start the milking, he would see it all done. He's going to do all the work by himself so that his father gets some free time. And he would know who had done it. His father would know Rob has done it. He laughed to himself as he gazed at the stars. Gaze, നോക്കുക. To look steadily for a long time. It was what he would do, and he mustn't sleep too sound. So he decided to get up early in the morning and do all the work in the barn. എല്ലാ ജോലിയും സ്വന്തമായിട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ തീരുമാനിച്ചു. This is his gift for his father. So he's a very loving, thoughtful and considerate child. The thought struck him like a silver dagger. What was the thought? He wondered about the possibility of giving a special gift to his father in the barn where he went every morning to milk the cows. That was the thought. He wanted to give a special gift to his father. Not the usual gift, he wanted to give a special gift this time. What was the special gift he planned to give his father that Christmas morning? He planned to do all the milking alone before his father woke up that Christmas morning. He wanted to surprise his father by this token of love. That was the special gift he planned to give his father on Christmas morning. He must have waked 20 times, scratching a match each time to look at his old watch. Midnight and 1:30, and then 2 o'clock. So he keeps checking his watch all night. It is midnight, then it is 1:30, then it is 2 o'clock, and he keeps on checking his watch. At 2:45, he got up and put on his clothes. At 2:45 എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ 2:45. There is 15 minutes until 3 o'clock, which means it is now 2:45. He crept downstairs, careful of the creaky boards, and let himself out. To creep is to move slowly. പതുക്കെ പോവുക. Creaky boards means making a rattling sound, making a squeaking sound. He crept downstairs, careful of the creaky boards, and let himself out. He went out of the house. The cows looked at him sleepy and surprised. It was early for them too. Why were the cows surprised? Because it was very early in the morning. It was 2:45 in the morning. He had never milked all day alone before, but it seemed almost easy. He kept thinking about his father's surprise. He had never done all the milking by himself, but he felt it was easy because he wanted to surprise his father. He wanted to give this gift to his father. His father would come in and get him, saying that he would get things started while Rob was getting dressed. He'd go to the barn, open the door, and then he'd go get the 2 big empty milk cans. But they wouldn't be waiting or empty. They'd be standing in the milk house filled. So when his father goes to get the milk cans, they will not be empty. They will be filled with milk. Father milk can എടുക്കാൻ പോകുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും അത് ഓൾറെഡി മിൽക്ക് കൊണ്ട് നിറഞ്ഞിരിക്കും, പാല് കൊണ്ട് നിറഞ്ഞിരിക്കും, which means all his work would already be done. That was his gift to his father. What the? He could hear his father exclaiming. So he is imagining the surprise of his father. The boy is imagining his father's surprise and finding out that he had done all his work. He smiled and milked steadily. 2 strong streams rushing into the pail, frothing and fragrant. Frothing means padaiga. Froth means foam, small bubbles on the surface of a liquid. Pada. So the milk is frothing, fresh and fragrant. A pail is a bucket. Pail is a bucket in which milk is collected. The task went more easily than he had ever known it to go before. Milking for once was not a chore. Chore is a routine task, a household task. എന്നും ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു ജോലിയാണ് chore. But milking doesn't feel like a chore to him. It doesn't feel like a job to him. It was something else, a gift to his father who loved him. He finished. The 2 milk cans were full and he covered them and closed the milk house door carefully. making sure of the latch. Latch means kuti, a door or window fastener. Latch. Door അടച്ച് കുറ്റിയിടുക, ലോക്ക് ചെയ്യുക. So this time milking doesn't seem to be a chore to him. അതൊരു ജോലിയായിട്ടേ തോന്നുന്നില്ല. Because he is doing this as a gift to his father. So he does all the work by himself and closes the door and goes back. Now there are two questions. He smiled and milked steadily. Why? He thought of his father's surprise and happiness when he would find the milking done. That made Rob smile and milk steadily. He's imagining his father's happiness. Why was milking no more a chore to Rob? Because it was now a precious gift he wanted to give his father as a token of love. Now this was no longer a chore because it was a gift to his father. So then Rob goes back to his room. Back in his room, he had only a minute to pull off his clothes in the darkness and jump into bed, for he heard his father up. He put the covers over his head to silence his quick breathing. The door opened. Rob, his father called. You have to get up, son, even if it is Christmas. All right, he said sleepily. So he gets back in bed and he pretends to sleep. ഉറങ്ങുന്നതായിട്ട് അഭിനയിക്കുന്നു. So his father comes and calls him and he says he's going to get up. The door closed and he lay still, laughing to himself. In just a few minutes, his father would know. His dancing heart was ready to jump from his body. The minutes were endless, 10, 15, he did not know how many, and he heard his father's footsteps again. So he is pretending to sleep. He is waiting for his father to find out what he has done. And he is waiting. It has been 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and he is trying to try to listen to his father's footsteps. അച്ഛൻ വരുന്നുണ്ടോ എന്ന് വെയിറ്റ് ചെയ്യാണ്. Because he wants his father to be surprised by what he has done. The door opened and he lay still. He is pretending to sleep. Rob! Yes, Dad. His father was laughing. A queer, sobbing sort of laugh. Queer means strange. Sob means cry. Crying uncontrollably. So his father is laughing and crying at the same time. He's so happy, he is crying. Thought you'd fool me, did you? His father was standing by his bed, feeling for him, pulling away the cover. It's for Christmas, Dad. He says it's a surprise for Christmas. So ഇവിടെ റോബിന്റെ അച്ഛൻ എന്താണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? He is so surprised, he is so happy that he is laughing and crying at the same time. He loves the gift his son gave him. And his son says it is for Christmas. It is a gift for Christmas. So let's look at the questions. Who said to whom? Thought you'd fool me, did you? His father says that to Rob. It's for Christmas, Dad. Rob says that to his father. The minutes were endless. Why? എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് the minutes were endless എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്? എപ്പോഴാണ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സമയം പോവാത്തതായിട്ട് തോന്നുന്നത്? When you're waiting for something. That is when time moves very slowly. When you're waiting for something, time doesn't seem to move. Because Rob was excitedly waiting for his father to return from the barn. He was very eager, anxious to know his father's reaction on finding that all the milking had been done. Rob was anxious to know his father's reaction. He wanted his father to be surprised. That is why he pretended to sleep. Why do you think his father laughed in a strange, sobbing sort of way? His father was overwhelmed by the act of love extended by his son. He was so happy. He was overcome with happiness, overcome with emotion. He was very happy and proud and was extremely touched by his son's action. He was surprised. He was touched by his son's action. So he felt happy and proud. That was why he was crying and laughing at the same time. He found his father and clutched him in a great hug. He felt his father's arms go around him. It was dark and they could not see each other's faces. Son, I thank you. Nobody ever did a nicer thing. So his father is so happy. They hug each other. And his father says, nobody ever did a nicer thing for me. He thanks his son. Oh, Dad, I want you to know, I do want to be good. The words broke from him of their own will. He did not know what to say. His heart was bursting with love. He got up and pulled on his clothes again, and they went down to the Christmas tree. Oh, what a Christmas! And how his heart had nearly burst again with shyness and pride, as his father told his mother and made the younger children listen about how he, Rob, had got up all by himself. So his father now tells the story to his mother and the other children. So his father is happy. He thanks his son and he is very proud of his son. He tells the story to others, to the other children and to the mother. What did the father thank his son for? എന്തിനാണ് thank ചെയ്തത്? For doing all the work, to doing all the milking that particular Christmas morning. പക്ഷെ അതിനുവേണ്ടി മാത്രമല്ല, he is also thanking his son for the act of love and respect that he showed him. It was the most precious Christmas gift he had ever received. So the Christmas gift is not just that Rob had done all the work. It is that Rob showed a lot of love and respect for his father. That is why his father thanked him. Why does Adam is Rob's father, say that the gift he got that Christmas Day is the best he has ever got? Because it is not just a gift, but it's also an expression, a supreme expression of his son's love towards him. വെറും ഒരു gift അല്ല, it is also an expression of love. The best Christmas gift I ever had, and I'll remember it, son, every year on Christmas morning, so long as I live. So his father says, ഞാൻ ജീവിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നിടത്തോളം ഈ ഗിഫ്റ്റ് എപ്പോഴും ഞാൻ ഓർമ്മിക്കും. They had both remembered it, and now that his father was dead, he remembered it alone. That blessed Christmas dawn morning, when alone with the cows in the barn, he had made his first gift of true love. That is why he remembers it, because it is the memory of his first gift of true love, the love for his father. Who said to whom? The best Christmas gift I ever had, and I'll remember it, son, every year on Christmas morning, so long as I live. Who says it? Rob's father, Adam, says it to Rob. Do you think the gift Rob gave to his father was truly precious? Why? Why is it precious? Of course it's precious. Why is it precious? Because it was a token of his love and respect for his father. This Christmas he wanted to write a card to his wife and tell her how much he loved her. It had been a long time since he had really told her, although he told her in a very special way, much more than he ever had when they were young. He had been fortunate that she had loved him. That was the true joy of life, the ability to love. Love was still alive in him. It still was. So this Christmas, his father has died, his mother has died. So he is going to tell his wife that he loves him. So he writes a card to his wife to tell her that he loves him. So according to the author, the true joy of life, ലൈഫിൻ്റെ സന്തോഷം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്, it is the ability to love. Love was still alive in him. It still was. So the ability to love was still alive in Rob. And that is the true purpose, the true joy of life. So what is he going to do this Christmas? He's going to write a card to his wife telling that he loves her. Why did he decide to write a letter to his wife that Christmas morning? That's the question. Only love can kindle love. It is to be expressed and shared. It has been a long time since he expressed the love that he felt for his wife, and he decided to do so that Christmas morning, the time reminiscent of love and sacrifice. Reminiscent means ഓർമ്മിപ്പിക്കുന്ന. So Christmas is a time that reminds us of love and sacrifice. So he decides to write a letter to his wife expressing his love for him, because he thinks that only love can kindle love, and love should be expressed and shared. Whether it be love between a father and son, or it can be the love between a husband and wife, it is meant to be expressed and shared. What is the true joy of life according to the author? The true joy of life is the ability to love. It occurred to him suddenly that it was alive, because long ago it had been born in him when he knew his father loved him. That was it. Love alone could awaken love, and he could give the gift again and again. So what made love alive in him? Because it was born in him long ago when he realized his father loved him. That was when he knew his father loved him, and they made him love his father back. That was it. Love alone could awaken love. Rob, his father's love for him kindled his love for his father. Love alone can awaken love. And he could give the gift again and again. It's a gift that keeps on giving. This morning, this blessed Christmas morning, he would give it to his beloved wife. Now he is giving his love to his wife. He could write it down in a letter for her to read and keep forever. So his writing this letter is a gesture of love. It is a token of love. He went to his desk and began his love letter to his wife. My dearest love, such a happy, happy Christmas. So this is about two acts of love. First one is the act of love towards his father. The first act of love was a gift for his father. രണ്ട് acts of love ആണ്. ആദ്യത്തേത് was a gift for his father. രണ്ടാമത്തേത്, the present story, at the present time, he is writing a letter, a love letter for his wife. അയാൾക്ക് വൈഫിനായിട്ട് ഒരു ലെറ്റർ എഴുതുന്നു as an expression for his love. So love alone could awaken love. Do you agree with this? Why? Yes. റോബിന്റെ സ്റ്റോറിയിൽ നിന്ന് നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാവുന്നത് ലവ് അലോൺ can awaken love എന്നാണ്. തൻ്റെ അച്ഛന് തന്നെ ഇഷ്ടമാണ്, തന്നോട് സ്നേഹമുണ്ടെന്ന് മനസ്സിലായപ്പോഴാണ് ആ കുട്ടി അച്ഛന് വേണ്ടി ഇതൊക്കെ ചെയ്യാൻ തീരുമാനിച്ചത്. That means love inspires love. Find out the story, words or images associated with Christmas. You can see, if you read the story, you will see several words or images associated with Christmas. For example, barn. Barn. യേശു ക്രിസ്തു ജനിച്ചത് തൊഴുത്തിലാണ്. So that is why barn and stable. Mince pies. They are made during Christmas. Turkey, stars, Christmas tree, shepherds, gift, card. These are all words associated with Christmas. Now pause the video and do activity 3. Activity 3 എന്താണ്? They have given a set of sentences. You have to rearrange the sentences. Okay? Write the sentences in the correct order. Pause the video and do activity 3. Activity 3 is based on the story that we just studied. So here's the correct order. Rob's father told his wife that he hated to wake Rob early in the morning to help him milk the cows. Rob overheard the conversation. He realized that his father loved him deeply. He wanted to give his father a special gift. He got up early in the morning and milked the cows. His father was surprised. He said that it was the best Christmas gift he had ever got. Fill in the blanks using the words in the glossary. Try to fill in the blanks. Students should not dash around once the class starts. They should not wander. Wander എന്നുള്ളതിന് വേറെ ഏത് വേർഡാണ് നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചത്? Look at the words in the glossary. Loiter. To loiter is to wander. Keep the horses in the stable. stable. Let's take a brisk walk in the park. Brisk means fast. Don't forget to dash the door when you go out. To latch the door. കുറ്റിയിടുക. She tried to console the deaf child. The sobbing child. കരയുന്ന കുട്ടി. Sobbing child. Her illness made it difficult for her to do her daily chores. Chores, daily work, routine work. എന്നും ചെയ്യുന്ന ജോലി. So activity 5 is about framing questions. Questions എങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടാക്കും? Suppose you're going to interview Rob. Frame 5 questions that you would like to ask him. Interviewന് ചോദിക്കുന്ന 5 questions എന്തൊക്കെയാണ്? First of all, they'll ask you what is your name, then where do you work, where is your office, what gift did you give your father? That's it for today's class. Thank you.